Burger. Burger. I swiveled to the right, only to be caught completely off guard. Oop! Uh-oh! She has instant transmission. Bro, you ain't getting out of here. You're about ready to fight a DBZ character. Don't you frickin' do it. I'm frickin' watching you. Anytime it wiggles, it frickin' screws me over. Every time it wiggles. The dreaded wiggle. Whose wiggle is that wiggle? How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Chaos Head Noah. And last time, well, I think I did an oopsie. I think that wouldn't have happened had I not have done what I did. You see, we went to a place called Gigantus, which is where Phantasm was going to be playing, so that we could see the face of Fess and see if she was the demon girl. After sending Miss Me in as an agent to get the CD for us and to tell us about her, he couldn't help but perv on her, so we had to go in ourselves after Miss Me Kun kind of shoved us in. And we saw her. We saw Fess. Not demon girl. We already knew that, but now Takumi knows that. And then she locked eyes with us and seemed sad, according to Takumi. I clicked the green button in a choice because I thought that would be a good thing. I thought, maybe we could cheer her up. I thought if we went neutral, we would ignore her and she'd continue to be sad. I clicked the green one and it turned into the best way I know how to currently describe it, being a vampire sex party. That's what happened. That's what it was. That's what happened. That was the delusion. And apparently that was all just in Takumi's head. Supposedly he just was back in his container thinking about that for some reason. That was uncomfortable. But then afterward, we had this weird existential moment with Nidhart, the little avatar that Takumi plays as, and I had another choice. Didn't realize the choice would go away as fast as it did, and I went neutral on it. I don't know what I would have done. I was thinking about going positive on that one to see what would happen, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Takumi just trolled us, the audience, into believing that Nidhart had turned around when he talked to him, and he didn't. So. And then after that, we went with Nanami, who basically cornered us at school to go and get a phone. And that's what we did. We got a phone. Even though Nanami was really upset when we tried to ditch her. When we ditched her, we saw Fez out in the distance, or at least we believe it was, not Fez, Fess. Gotta hit that hard S on the end there. And I don't know what that meant when we saw her, but then Nanami got mad at us, dragged us back in, and we got a phone, and now we're here. So without any more further ado, let's just get into this, shall we? In the end, Nanami picked out a model with ease, as if she hadn't just spent 10 years trying to choose. After spending around an hour on the contract and other technical stuff, I tried to finally head back home with my phone, but Nanami stopped me.
I'll set your phone up for you. So why don't we stop by McD's?
Oh my gosh. Without waiting for a response, she grabbed me by the back of my collar and started dragging me to the nearest McD against my will. Hey, that actually does look like a McDonald's too, what the frick? It's got even the whole office-y kind of look. Which it shouldn't, right? Because I feel like back then they weren't quite office-y yet, right? Like, McDonald's grew up within the last 10 years, right? They used to be like the fun play place when I was little, I remember playing in that, germ cesspit, and I think they even had a ball pit at one point in certain ones. Something like that, I can't remember. Anyway, I remember they had slides and all the other crap that some Burger Kings still have. And then they went totally corporate. They just went totally corporate, and they lost all of their childhood. Anything that was ever there that had to do with Ron McDon, man. Nah, that's gone now. That's what this looks like. This looks like the corporate McDonald's, so interesting.
Knowing you, You'll just chuck your phone into a random corner of your room without even bothering to turn it on. So, I'll make things nice and easy for you.
Gosh darn it. How much longer was she planning to hold me hostage? And out of all places she could have chosen to do it in, why McD? The inside of Shibuya McD was the embodiment of chaos. There were craploads of people, and none of them ever shut the heck up. The sheer amount of DQNs was off the charts. At the table next to us sat 3 DQN tier mothers with dyed brown hair. And to make things even worse, they'd brought their kids with them. They just left their children, 3 little crotch goblins with red highlights, to be specific, to run around the restaurant squealing their heads off. And instead of controlling them, they just kept on chatting away. That is too real. Okay. Yeah. I swear these writers, man, they've had some experiences, bro. They've seen some crap, man. They've been through it. They've been through the ringer, man. These are things that like normal people think about. Like honestly, dude, how many times I have felt like in my head, why doesn't that parent do something about their kid that's being an absolute nuisance to society when you're out in public, you know? It's like if you can't keep your kid in line, then you don't get to go out in public. That's just how it is. Either at least do something about it, right? At least try. If you're trying, I won't give you crap, you know? Because you're trying, right? But if you don't even try, what the frick, bro? You know? I don't know, man. That's just how I feel. At a different table was yet another group of DQNs. This time made up of 4 high school guys, all laughing like obnoxious jerks. Next, 2 high school girls, complete with baggy socks and dyed brown hair, sat opposite to each other, hyper-focused on their phones. They didn't even bother talking. Beside them was a snoring middle-aged businessman slumped down on his table, making it pretty obvious that he was skipping out on work. But what really made me double take was this table close by with a group of 5 elementary schoolers. Some boys, some girls. They all sat there with their little school bags on the floor, happily chatting it up with each other as their legs swung back and forth beneath the table. So, considering that it was, co-ed, was it a mixer? It was, wasn't it? Weren't they elementary schoolers? Well, regardless, the point is that as far as the eye could see, there were groups of people that I avoided like the plague. Nanami had no problem at all relaxing at a place like this. Me, on the other hand, just setting foot in here only served to make my headache and nausea 1,000 times worse. Wait, why the heck did I have to play along with my sister and stay here in the first place?
Hey, what are you going to do for your ringtone? Got anything in mind?
Without even looking in my direction, Nanami played around with my phone as she prodded me for an answer. Pick an anime song. Oh man, let's go.
Overruled! This is exactly why everyone calls you a nerd, big bro.
Let him be a nerd, all right? Give him that, all right? He's not allowed to be a degenerate, all right? That don't fly by me. But he can be a nerd, all right? He can like anime, all right? He's got to learn to eat the crap when people look at him funny, you know? If he wants to freaking play like Lucky Star's opening theme as his, you know, ringtone, then he's just got to take the heat for it, you know? That's all there is to it. And then if somebody asks him or gives him, you know, weird looks or says that he shouldn't do that, he just says, screw you. I like doing this. I like anime, you know? For the record, I've never seen Lucky Star. I just happen to know the intro, and it's just very, very, very cutesy. So maybe K-On! Would have been better. That one I actually have seen. And K-On! Is absolutely just a cutesy show, so. You're the one asking me what I prefer. Come on, it's my phone. So at least let me pick what I want.
Oh, I know. How about we use the new Omura Carrera song? It's one of my jams. It's so good.
Yeah, no. That's overruled.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're not really an Omura Carrera kind of guy anyway.
After showing how little she actually cared about what I thought, Nanami took a bite of one of her French fries. I should probably mention that this witch asked for a fish sandwich combo before dinner. One that I had to pay for. I, meanwhile, was feeling so garbage that my appetite was long gone. Piece of crap sister spoiling her appetite and mine. Freaking bullcrap. Gosh dang it. You can be you can be mad at her, okay? But you don't gotta call her names, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, aside from that.
For whatever reason, Nanami placed her bag on her lap and started digging through its contents.
Where'd I put it? Oh, here it is.
Then she proudly took out... Ghetto Froggy! There he is! A defective... Ghetto Froggy?
It's not defective. It's the Googling Ghetto Froggy that came out last week.
The what?
You didn't know? You really do live under a rock. They release a new Ghetto Froggy every Friday. They've made 12 different ones so far.
Seriously? Was there really enough demand for weekly releases?
The one I have on my phone is the first one. The ordinary Ghetto Froggy. After that was the fatty Ghetto Froggy. Then the rugged Ghetto Froggy.
Without skipping a beat, Nanami recited the names of the various Ghetto Froggies.
Fourth was the smooth Ghetto Froggy. Fifth was the shining Ghetto Froggy. And sixth was the most popular, the cat Ghetto Froggy. Then came the spooky Ghetto Froggy, the sleepy Ghetto Froggy, the burning Ghetto Froggy, the zombie Ghetto Froggy, the drunk Ghetto Froggy.
Gosh dang! How the heck did she remember all those? Hang on. Had she... have you collected all of them?
Well, duh! There's no point if you don't collect them all.
You'd have loved Pokemon. She would have been a Pokemon kid.
That's why there's such a huge line to buy one every week.
For a half-baked piece of garbage like that? To be honest, even I could crap out a better design. Wait, why had she even decided to start lecturing me on Ghetto Froggies to begin with?
So yeah, I'm going to give you Googling Ghetto Froggy.
Huh? Why?
If you hang it on your phone, I bet you some girls at school will give you the googly eyes themselves.
Dude, why is our sister trying to set us up, yo? What the frick? After saying that, Nanami started to put the strap on my phone. I don't want that, the frick? There's no point if you don't collect them all, right? If you give me that, your collection won't be complete.
Oh, don't worry about that. I bought two.
Of course you did, yeah, that's what I was thinking, she bought two. Do you buy two every time? Or... I was starting to seriously doubt her aesthetic taste.
Nah, just this time. I bought an extra one for you and your phone, big bro. Aw.
Purposefully?
purposefully.
It's kind of cute. Having now finished attaching the strap, Nanami gave a satisfied nod before wrapping her mouth around her soda straw. Then, she suddenly leaned forward, startling me.
Although it's not like I stood in line just for you or anything.
Excuse hold on. Whoa! Hold up, kiddo. You better calm down, all right? I'm serious about this. You better calm down. All right, that's some tsundere talk, all right? You don't get to talk like that, okay? You better freaking calm down, okay, sister? Freaking watching you. You better calm the frick down. I mean that. You think I'm joking. You thought that was a joke. No. Actually shocked me. You better calm down.
I just did it because I could. That's all.
I don't want it.
What?
Still leaning forward, Nanami opened her eyes wide. She looked like she might throttle me at any moment.
You don't want it? Even though I purposefully went out of my way to buy it for you?
You said you just did it because you could. Besides, I don't care about ghetto froggies. If anything, I think they look horrible.
This is why you're not popular with girls, big bro.
I'd almost expected her to slap me, but surprisingly, Nanami managed to rein in her temper and sit back down. Then, instead of taking her anger out on me, she started nibbling on a fry instead as she sulked.
Well, it's not like there's any point in resisting. I've already put it on after all.
She sure was acting like the queen of everything. Then again, I knew jack crap about cell phones, so it was true that Nanami knew best here.
And if you even think about taking it off, you'll be the one standing in the weekly line. Got it?
Weekly line? For what exactly?
Hello? So you can buy the new Ghetto Froggy? The whole thing usually takes a couple hours.
Oh my gosh, for a toy? Are you freaking out of your mind? Dude, not for that. Are you freaking out of your mind? A couple hours waiting in line for that? Are you serious? Ain't no way. Imagine. You'll never catch me doing that. Never mind, if I say that, there's gonna be something that I stay in line for that's gonna freaking be stupid, and I'll have to justify it. So never mind. But still, a couple hours? I know myself too well. The minute I say that, I would never do that. There's always something that comes along, and I'm like, all right, but it's different this time. So, still though, for real, that's kind of crazy. Not a chance in heck. No way was I gonna let my sister hit me with a threat like that. For a while after that, Nanami wordlessly continued to fiddle around with my phone. I wasn't particularly picky about whatever she was setting up, so I was honestly grateful for the silence.
To be honest, this all feels kinda strange.
The next time she opened her mouth, her sullen demeanor from before had completely disappeared. I guess she only needed a few minutes to forget annoying crap instead of having to sleep it off. Talk about easy going. In a way, I envied her.
Yup, it really is strange. It feels like we haven't gone out like this in forever, big bro. I wonder when the last time we did something like this was. I actually can't remember. You're always cooped up in your room watching anime and playing games, so I guess it only makes sense. But yeah, doing this every once in a while is nice. Gotta shake things up, you know? It'd definitely suck doing this every day, though. Even for me.
Burger. Bro. Nanami placed my phone on the table and picked up her fish sandwich. She happily undid the wrapping, then heartily sank her teeth in. I have to also say, too, they even picked for the person that Takumi finds the most annoying to pick the fish sandwich, which is objectively considered, like, it's looked on with scorn, you know, from the McDonald's menu. And there's people that like it, all right? But, like, I feel like most people look at the fish sandwich as objectively bad. You know, they're like, oh, fish from McDonald's? What the frick? That can't be the code. You know, like, that's always the meme. Anytime I've ever heard anyone, like, talk about the fish sandwich at McDonald's, they always say, like, why would you ever get the fish sandwich? That's why, I feel like that's a detail that they added knowingly, you know? If they did, that's awesome. That's really funny. Come to think of it, I felt like she'd said at one point that the fish sandwich here was her favorite food. Have fun getting fat, cow. Dude, come on, bro, what the frick? Nanami instantly stopped moving. Oh, did she hear him? No, she's looking at something else. It's a bait, right? She glared at me menacingly. Never mind. Nope. He did. He said it loud enough. What the frick? Then, after hesitating for a second, she bashfully held out her half-eaten fish sandwich. What the frick?
Want the other half?
No? You're already too late there.
Saying stuff like that'll make all the girls hate you. You better keep that in mind, you big jerk.
Bro, what was that? What the frick? Glad I didn't have a choice to make on that. I'm glad that just passed. What the frick? Golly, why? Why? Game, why? Why? It doesn't need to be this way. Let's get back to the murders, dude. Please. Or literally anyone that isn't his sister, please. Gosh dang it. Nanami ended up finishing the fish sandwich all on her own. What a freaking fatty. That's how it ends. Oh my gosh. What the frick? After that, Nanami held me hostage with hours of useless chatter. And by the time I finally had my phone back, it was already dark. Do we get to actually play with the phone now? It'd been a long, painful few hours, but eventually, I was able to get away from Nanami and start heading back home. Fall seemed to be in full swing now, with the night breeze carrying a slight chill, one that soothed my headache and nausea. Those two things never failed to torment me whenever I spent a long time in crowds. Honestly, Nanami, kill yourself. Okay, don't actually, but still, kill yourself. See, okay, this is the one thing that I do like about him, though, is even though he's such a jerk, I do like that he says stuff like this. This is how you know what he actually feels, you know what I mean? That he doesn't actually hate her. It makes it easier to sympathize and feel bad for him, you know what I mean? To, like, actually be in his shoes. So, there you go. Also, what's that say on that guy's sign? Judgment is nigh for this city. Ah, I see. Are we going to talk to him? Or is he just there? Okay. Interesting. Also, I've never had, like, in my own experience, I've never had, like, true, like, I won't say true. I feel like I've had anxiety before. I just don't own it, you know? Like, I don't just say, like, oh, I have anxiety, I can't be around people. I just suck it up and do stuff anyway, you know? Like, you just, because you have to in life. But, like, I've never had anxiety that does that, where it gives you headaches and nausea from just, like, being in a crowd. That's, like, really wild. That actually is debilitating. That's, like, an actual problem. So, that sucks. If any of you go through that, that really sucks, and I really sympathize with you. But, like, I feel like a lot of people just say, like, oh, I have anxiety, but, like, they just don't, like, they get nervous talking to people, you know? That's That's just a normal human emotion. You know, it's like you're just being worried of whether or not you'll be accepted until you learn to not care about that, and worried about, you know, saying something stupid and making yourself look like an idiot. Like those are all things that you eventually grow out of. You learn to deal with. You learn to eventually overcome. And the only way you can do that is actually by being in those situations. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people say they have anxiety, but they don't actually, like, not to this degree, right? They don't have like Takumi anxiety. They have like just like, you know, I get a little nervous when I'm around people sometimes, but then they treat it like it's like this, you know? So, I don't know. I always thought that was kind of weird, but she only ever thought about herself. She probably didn't even have a clue about how much torture she constantly inflicted on me. If I had the option, I'd love to snap my new phone cleanly in half right now and throw it away into the nearest trash can. It wasn't like I'd bought it with my own money after all. But if I actually did that, it wouldn't just be Nanami that'd come to my base, but my parents too. And then, without picking up on a darn thing, they'd just go, "Oh, since it broke on you, let's go and buy you a new one," like the idiots they were. This kid, man, this freaking kid, he thinks he's so edgy. I love how edgy he thinks he is. Look at all that edge, dude. You could cut butter with that edge, brother. Thus, I reluctantly suppressed my urges to smash the darn thing. I needed to get home, and quickly. I could hear another night of ESO calling my name. Not a single day had passed recently that hadn't filled me with endless anxiety. I really hoped my peaceful everyday life would hurry up and come back already. Okay, alright. Interesting. On that night, another grotesque case occurred. The fourth New Gen case. Like always, Grim laid out the details to me when I was playing ESO. Sup, Grim? A bit later than usual today, huh? Whose eyes are those eyes? What the freak? Oh, dude! That's gotta be part of the murder, that's why he said it, but yo. Oh, dang. I couldn't believe my eyes. Why did Grim know that phrase? I was completely taken aback. My fingers trembled on the keyboard. I didn't even know where to start with responding. Heck, even just looking at what he typed nearly took everything out of me. The fourth New Gen case happened. Whee! Been following the crap storm this whole time. Things be really heating up in Shibuya. This one's seriously freaking crazy, dude, lol. The victim's corpse had all the blood completely drained out. They found them dead in the Inokashira Station bathroom. The corpse was really something. The skin had turned green. Lately, oh my gosh, that was too much for me to read that fast. Oh crap, I couldn't even, I couldn't do it. I bit my lip as I watched the messages flow. My imagination came very close to forming an image, but I was just barely able to keep that delusion at bay. I took a gulp of cola from the bottle to calm myself somewhat. Darn that Grim. He had to be ambushing me like this on purpose. Okay. Wait, okay. There's no way a person could do this. Okay, it stopped. So, lately I've even started thinking that the occult theories might even be true, to be honest. There's no way a person could do this. Eh? No reaction? Way. How do you know so much about it? You're talking almost like you were there. Well, something like that. Also, I guess you're still not interested in this stuff, Neidhart. New Gen and all that jazz. Not enough to follow it. Too busy grinding in ESO. Never change, old lightning-fast Neidhart. A true video game addict that puts the rest of us to shame. I couldn't read that last sentence, okay. I didn't really want to talk about New Gen, so I somehow managed to fool Grimm into bringing the topic to an end. That's why we love you. That's why we admire you. Oh, he says the Daru thing. By the way, take a look at 10,000 at this. Take a what? Oh, take a look. Oh, by the way, take a look at this. Okay. Okay. What do you think? I'm sensing some serious bait. Last time he'd done this, he'd acted like it was some gory crap, only for it to be some random, stupid meme. This time could very well be the opposite. Nah, 2 for 2? Huh? You seriously don't know about it? About what? Are you actually a wrong-sider, Neidhart? Screw off. Fine, what is it? What if I said it's related to your precious Seraton? For real? Then I had to look. As far as I could tell, the URL looked like it linked to some auction page, so it probably wouldn't crash my browser or hit me with anything mentally scarring. Dude, he's gonna get trolled again. That was his button, was Seraton. Slightly excited, I opened the link. Oh. Huh? Oh, is she type B? Is that part of her character lore? Type B blood in short supply? Oh yeah, that's right. Didn't he get that message from where'd he get that from? Wasn't it from Animate when he went with Yua? I think it was. Can't remember where he first saw that, the blood thing. Okay. It felt like I'd seen that title somewhere before. Might have been deja vu again. Anyway, more importantly, where'd that fap-worthy Seraton pick? Gosh dang it, frick you. Screw you. Gosh dang it. I hate him sometimes, so much, sometimes, so much, so much. I spun my mouse wheel and scrolled down the page. Oops! Nope! He did. He punked him that time. Uh-oh. I could tell at a glance that the image that came up on my monitor was obviously gore. I averted my gaze to my left monitor in a panic, then quickly closed the browser. The gore had only been on my screen for less than 3 seconds, and the time I spent actually looking at it was even less than that. But even so. It's a picture of the corpse from the 4th New Gen case, from before the mass media started reporting on it. It's being sold in an auction like it's totally normal. It's like they're putting a price on the victim's tragic state itself. So basically the seller is 100% the New Gen culprit. Isn't that insane? The seller's name is Vamp Buyer. Well, actually, it's probably just some throwaway. Even so, this has already caused a total crap storm online, been posted all over on tons of image boards. There's even memes. It's like Rule 34. People do this crap way too fast, lol. Wow, I had to read that so fast. I should get an award for that. Someone give me props for that. I want to see some praise for that. That was hard. Oh yeah, did you notice the dying message in the image? Dying message? It's written on the wall with the victim's blood. Still can't believe it's there. The cult prob did that for craps and giggles. Hello? Neidhart-san? You alive? Is your comp frozen? Dying message. I'd only seen the image for an instant, and yet, this is a game. It can't be real. This world can't be real. This has to be a game world. It's getting meta on me again. The victim's last message, written sloppily in deep red blood, had been burned into my mind. No matter how much I tried not to think about it, the letters rose one by one on my closed eyelids, urging me to realize them. How is that phrase there? I knew those words all too well. Words I often murmured to myself. Words I asked nobody in particular. The words Grimm had first said when I'd jumped on ESO. It was like they were everywhere now. Those words that I had never actually said to anyone throughout my entire life. Wow. Wow. Hey, chapter 2, alright. On to chapter 3. Late night Shibuya, 4 a.m. Despite being named the city that never sleeps, very few people were currently present at its most popular locale, Scramble Crossing. Instead, many taxis were parked in their place, ready to carry away the drunks unwilling to wait for the first train of the morning. A generous amount of drivers were reclined in their seats napping. The more diligent drivers leaned against their steering wheels as their eyes stared idly toward the hot spots, the most frequent ones being Center Guy and the 10-7 building. However, they were not trying to ascertain whether or not any of the passers-by were potential customers. Instead, they focused intently on the movements of the sanitation workers who had arrived about 30 minutes before. The 5 to 6 men were thought to be sanitation workers due to their yellow armbands, each of which had sanitation reporter written on them. It was very likely that, without the armbands, no one would have recognized them as such, for there was something particularly odd about the men. They were all wearing black suits. Furthermore, ever since their arrival, they had yet to show any signs of cleaning at all. Instead, one man held a strange instrument resembling a pendulum, and the surrounding men appeared to be measuring something. This was not restricted to just the one area, however. From the center of Scramble Crossing to the very edge of it, they left no spot untouched, writing all their findings down on various scraps of paper. Even now, they were taking measurements from directly beneath the traffic signals, silently observing the movements of the pendulum. At last, the instrument let out a small chime. Okay. Oh, what the frick? Location L28, 0.62 mega GE, the highest score yet. It's risen 38 points higher than last month's, just as expected. But there was no one present in the early morning Shibuya to pay attention to the odd mumbling and behavior. The taxi drivers would speed off as soon as patrons boarded their cars, quickly forgetting about the mysterious sanitation workers. The drunks were hardly conscious, leaving them unable to see anything around them to begin with. Female nightlife workers who had just clocked out, finally free from the stress of smiling at repulsive drunkards, jumped into taxis to get home as soon as possible. Thus, not a single person was around to notice that the government had not scheduled any plans whatsoever for cleaning to take place that morning. Okay. There's a lot happening, bro. Even after the weekend had passed, the uproar brought on by the fourth new-gen case, now dubbed the Vamp Buyer Incident, hadn't even come close to calming down. A man's corpse had been found with all of its blood taken out of it, leaving the surface of the body a sickly, inhuman shade of green. It'd been discovered in a bathroom at Shibuya Station. a part of the Inokashira line. In addition, it was uncovered that the photograph of the corpse had been posted to an online auction, and considering the abnormality and brutality of the murder, it was inevitable that both the mass media and @channel jumped on it. Special attention had been paid to the headline of the auction page, which read, "Type B blood in short supply." Tissue packs advertising an upcoming blood drive had been handed out in large quantities in front of Shibuya Station a few days prior to the incident, and the exact same message had been written on them. I had one of those tissue packs on hand. That's right, he got it when he was trying to get through that crowd. That's right, okay. Reading back over it again now, the insanely strange words didn't read like an ad for a blood drive anymore. They read like some kind of advanced message of the crime. The police had supposedly been searching for the part-timers handing out the tissue packs, but they had yet to find any of them. However, there was one area where the vamp buyer differed pretty heavily from the previous cases. While there had already been elements of it in the crucifixion case, the intent for it to be a theatrical crime was much more obvious with this one. A few media outlets had begun clamoring for increased police presence via patrols, or for a late-night curfew for people under 18. But the number of young people visiting the city showed no signs of declining. They were just as packed as usual, with people flooding every nook and cranny of Center Guy and Scramble Crossing. Okay. The internet was so thirsty for news, a group of people trying to be Snake had snuck into Shibuya late at night to post live updates. And there had also been a phrase that was trending among the city's younger population. Whose eyes are those eyes? It wasn't just online either. The phrase had penetrated the ranks of each and every DQN walking around Shibuya. On @channel, it had become common practice to tack the phrase onto anything, regardless of if it was related or not. This week's episode of Bloodtoon won't have much Seratan, whose eyes are those eyes. The new patch's weapons are so weak, they're actually unusable, whose eyes are those eyes. What whose eyes are those eyes is that from? And so on. To people my age, New Gen was probably just something new and exciting to follow. The newest crap show to obsess over. But to me, it was the most aggravating thing possible. Regardless, a whole 3 days had passed since the vampire case, so I'd been able to calm down a bit. Of course, there was still a nagging uneasiness in the corner of my mind, but by losing myself in ESO over the weekend, I'd been able to temporarily forget about all that irritating, inexplicable garbage. Even though I had to go to school today, I'd been able to get through my classes by either sleeping through them or thinking about the stats and frame data of ESO's rarest items. I guess I'd leveled up a little bit. And so, on my way home from school, I stopped by @Cafe for the first time in a while. It made me happy to see that the room I usually used, room 37, was vacant and ready for me. The last time I'd set foot in it was at least 2 weeks ago, meaning this was the longest gap I'd ever had between visits. Is he gonna run into Yua again? The sour breeze flowing through the air conditioning. The manga stained with the smell of tobacco. How comfortable it was to sit back in the recliner. The snores of old men cutting through the silent, still air. It all provided the store's interior with an aura of pure nostalgia. I inspected the chat logs on room 37's PC. And that's when I realized
both members of that chat log were you. This Shogun is you.
I hadn't seen Yua since then. We were in different grades, and I didn't go to school that often, so it made sense why we hadn't come across each other. Yua's got some incredible delusions. I couldn't help but pity her. She was clearly sick in the head. Wow, that's the kettle calling the pot black, you know? Oh my goodness. I'd be better off just leaving her be. Besides, meeting her at all had been a freak accident. Over the past 2 weeks or so, I'd been dragged into all sorts of random bullcrap. Before then, my everyday life had been completely vanilla, and Misumi-kun was pretty much the only one who'd talk to me. So why was it that basically nothing but weird, inexplicable bullcrap had been happening to me recently? Get it? I wanted to avoid thinking about that garbage as much as humanly possible. That dying message had to be just a coincidence. The words were all pretty common after all. If I'd thought of it, there was no reason someone else wouldn't have been able to as well. I had no interest in who that message was aimed at. No, I couldn't be interested. That was what I told myself anyhow. Suddenly, something started ringing nearby. I jolted up in surprise, and a shudder ran through me as I stayed rooted in my recliner. It was the sound of a phone ringing. But whose was it? Because the store was so quiet, the electronic sound rang out all the louder. I looked around, but I couldn't locate a phone anywhere. Wait, maybe it's... A thought came to my mind, and I fished around in my bag. Sure enough, the ringing was coming from the cell phone I'd bought just a few days prior. I glanced warily at the LCD display. Normally, the caller's name would be displayed there. Oh, what the frick? Was it a good idea to answer? I didn't like talking to people that much, so probably not. Who the heck was calling me anyway? I hadn't told anyone my phone number yet. The only people who knew it even existed were my family, with Nanami's nosy self making sure to put them in my address book. When one of the people registered in my address book called, their name should display, meaning that whoever was calling wasn't a family member. So, who was this? The phone kept on ringing persistently. Did people who had phones usually force people to listen to the ringing for this long? I'd never used one of them before, so I wouldn't know, but it was incredibly annoying. To suddenly invade someone's privacy like this, cursing them with an obnoxious ringing until they picked up. A socially acceptable way to invade someone's privacy. That was exactly why I didn't want one of these stupid things. Oh, it stopped. Relieved, I checked the screen again. Missed calls, 1, was displayed on it. I had no interest in returning this rando's call, so I decided to leave it be. It'd be a pain in the rear if this happened again in the future, so I should really figure out how to set up my voicemail. Ugh, cell phones were such a pain in the butt. I didn't even like phones to begin with. It's gonna ring again, isn't it? I mean, come on. They were freaky as heck. How exactly were you supposed to know if the person you were talking to on the other end was the actual person you thought it was? What do you mean? You play video games with people. That's even worse. You just text people back and forth on the freaking instant messenger of the video game. That's even worse. At least this way you can tell what the voice is. You can tell if it's a guy or a girl usually, unless they got the like a voice randomizer. Well, I can't think of the word. Voice a thing that changes your voice. I can't think of what that's called, but you know what I mean. Like, what are you talking about? Freaking hypocrite? With how prevalent fraud was nowadays, were people actually taking the proper measures to make sure they were talking to the right person? I couldn't help but wonder how people would be able to calmly have a conversation with someone who might be an impersonator. Even if I understood the gist of how it worked, it was hard to believe that my voice could somehow reach distant places through a phone line. How? You play video games, dude. That's even more intricate than a phone. What are you talking about? When you talk on a phone, your voice is temporarily converted into electrical signals. They pass through the phone lines until they reach the recipient, where they are then restored back to normal. That's when they become audible. Wait, before we go any further, first off, that seems like that's another Steins Gate thing, is the electrical signals thing, you know? In the phone, that's how they did the whole time leap machine, you know? That was the whole concept behind that. I wonder if that'll come into play in this one too, with the phone and all that. But I wanted to see really quick. What does it say? This is programmers wanted free training. Now only 500,000 yen to apply. Become a manager today. Huh? Well, you have to pay money? Oh, for free. Wait, it's free training. Wait, what? Wait, you have to. It's a job, isn't it? Programmers wanted. You have to pay to get a job. What? Okay, I don't understand that, but okay. In order to talk on the phone, you need to go through this conversation process at least twice. With a cell phone, your voice is first converted into electrical signals. Then, it travels to a nearby base station via radio waves, which then run through normal phone lines to the switching station, then to the closest base station to the recipient, before finally arriving at their cell phone right afterward. It was a bizarre, complicated process. If my voice was replaced by electrical signals, could the other party really hear my voice, word for word, exactly as I sent it? In fact, wasn't it possible that in the conversion process, my voice and my words could be transformed into something completely different? For instance, if I called Anonymous, but instead of connecting to her, it connected to some strange shady facility. And there, I would end up talking to someone I had never met, who was only pretending to be Nanami. Maybe they wouldn't even be a person, but a computer instead. That was the big reason why phone calls freaked me out so much. They were even scarier than talking to someone face to face. Still doesn't make sense, but okay. When I'd logged into ESO as Lisa-Lot, as was often the case, 3 hours passed by in the blink of an eye. It'd been 2 weeks since I'd last used her, but she made for a pretty good support, so I was feeling pretty satisfied. I left at cafe in a good mood and started heading home. Center Guy was as packed and noisy as usual, which irritated me. The bright lights illuminating the streets from the various shops made it hard to believe it was nighttime. And at the end of the well-lit road, despite the crowds, I clearly saw her, causing me to stop dead in my tracks. That one girl. Whoa! Oh, what the frick? I thought you said it was Fess. What? Who are you? I mean, we know you, we've seen you at school, but what is that? Look at that sick sword, dude. What the frick? That's cool. In the midst of so many people, she glared directly at me. Right smack in the middle of Center Guy, where people were coming and going without reprieve. Where it was difficult to even walk straight. She stood still, resting the gigantic sword she carried on her shoulder. The spectacle was completely absurd. And yet, no one paid her sword any mind. The stream of people flowed right past her with no change in demeanor. She was the girl I'd seen at 10-7. Oh, I thought you said that was Fess. Did I read that wrong? I thought that was Fess. Okay. She had been there when Nanami was dragging me around to buy a cell phone. The shape of her sword, her Suemei uniform, her long black hair, everything matched perfectly. Back then, she had been standing at the top of the stairs in front of 10-7, watching the passers-by come and go. See, I thought her hair was purple, because I've seen them do black hair before, and they actually make it look like an actual black color. But, like, it's funny that so I've seen, like, Takumi once or twice, and he had the same kind of shade of hair. He must have black hair as well then, because I thought it was purple, but it's the way they shaded it. It looks purple, but they're saying it's black, so that's funny. And I remembered the sharpness of her glare. I had met her once before, at school. She had these almond-shaped eyes and clean-cut, model-like features, and yet they only served to make her seem all the more unapproachable. And it was all capped off by that long, silky black hair that stretched all the way down to her waist. She was Girl B, the one who had so rudely probed me in the corridors after school one day, asking me who I was. Come to think of it, why was she glaring at me? Thinking maybe it wasn't me she was looking at, I turned around. Usually when something like this happened, more often than not, they were just looking at someone who happened to be behind me. But that wasn't the case here. The one she was glaring at, her gaze filled with intense hostility, had to be me. I froze. I knew now what it felt like to be someone's prey. Glaring back was out of the question. I was always terrible at looking people in the eye, so I couldn't help but stare down at the pavement. I should run. Normally, I'd go home by taking a left at Scramble Crossing, where she was standing, and then I would end up next to BookFat. But today, I headed for the station instead. There were a lot of people there, but I'd rather that than deal with some scary 3D girl harassing me. Heck, she might even try to mug me. Or maybe she was only feigning being alone, and she actually had several DQNs lurking nearby, waiting for her to lure me in so that they could beat the crap out of me. To be honest, they'd probably one-shot me. Like I'd fall for that. I swiveled to the right, only to be caught completely off guard. Oop! Uh-oh! She has instant transmission! Bro, you ain't getting out of here. You're about ready to fight a DBZ character. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Huh? What? Somehow, the girl was right in front of me. Flustered, I turned back around to look at the Scramble Crossing. She was no longer there. I looked in front of me once again. The girl with the sword was still glaring at me, just as she had been before. What the heck? When'd she get around me? Legs could only move so fast. That was practically teleportation. And besides, how could she have predicted that I'd turn around in the first place?
Hey, you.
Her voice reached my ears with extreme clarity. I frantically looked around me. I wanted to think she was talking to someone else. Even though I already knew full well who she was talking to, I searched for anyone else she could be directing that hey you toward. Dude, she's got, telepathy. She's a psychic, yo. But, obviously, there was no one. A number of businessmen walking by glanced at Girl B inquisitively, only to realize she wasn't talking to them and walked away. Girl B, who had been standing there imposingly the entire time, took a sudden step toward me. That was all the confirmation I needed. Girl B had been targeting me after all. Oh!
I'm talking to you. Do you see it?
Oh, frick! Rude as ever. In my 17 years of life, I could probably count the number of times a girl had talked to me like this on one hand. Well, I guess there were times when Kirimiya Tsubaki, aka Sunko, had talked to me like that, but it was in the tsundere kind of way. Granted, Sunko was just a 2D character from the Edoge Tell Me doll. Girl B kept getting closer and closer as those stupid thoughts raced through my head. Oh, frick. Why does she feel so intimidating even though she's a girl? I wondered. But the reasons were simple. The sharp look in her eyes, and the gigantic sword she was carrying. For a sword, it had a fairly unique shape. Fairly? It was the kind of thing that operated on anime logic. It had an awesome design, but if you actually used it in real life, it'd be completely unusable. It had to be from some mecha anime. Had there been any mecha anime that started airing recently? Even though I knew it was a prop for some random anime cosplay, it still looked incredibly sharp and solid. Like, if you even so much as touched it, it would slice your fingers clean off. He just said the same thing. I wonder if that means something, because he said something... He said, like, basically the same thing back when he was getting the phone with Nanami, you know? Huh. What a strange sword.
I asked you if you can see it.
Girl B had already cut the distance between us by 2 meters. If she swung her sword, it would hit me. Flustered, I took a step back, but it was too late. Girl B closed the distance further and further. Oh, frick! Wait! She'd actually swung the sword. Wait, okay. I don't know what to do here. She's probably good, right? She's asking me if we saw something, so it's probably a good thing, right? No, but then he'll go lewd because it's a girl situation, and we now know that if I do anything that involves a girl and I hit the green element, then it doesn't matter. He'll have a freaking delusion of everybody around him as well. I'm still clicking it anyway. I'm still clicking it anyway because I think if I stay neutral, then he'll probably just run away. If I click the red one, it'll be bad, and I don't want it to be bad because I think she's a good person. I could just leave it alone. I'm not leaving it alone. I'm clicking it. He's gonna freaking freak out again. I do this to myself every time, but it's because I don't want to miss something that good that could happen from this. You know, I want something good to happen, and she could be a useful ally against Demon Girl or whatever, right? So I don't know. She'd actually swung the sword. Ah! Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. If I hadn't dodged it, it would have hit my head for sure. I doubted it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion and permanently dented my skull. I hated pain. What the heck are you doing? I was so shaken that my speech got all messed up. Okay. Ooh, look at how cool she looks. What the frick? Yo, look at that, dude. Girl B looked down at me coldly. Man, she was really close. Frick you, I know where this is going. Screw you. Gosh dang it, would this have happened even if I didn't click green? I don't want to take the risk of losing an ally, so I don't want to do that. And then every time I friggin'... Gosh dang it. I don't want to. I know where this is going. I don't want to. Her bare legs were right in front of me. And at this angle, I could almost see up her skirt. I told you. I didn't tell you. I told myself in my brain, but that's exactly where I was thinking this was going. If this has a moment where she's like, tell me your friggin', your intentions. What are you doing out here? Do you see the thing that I'm talking about? And he'll be like, your skirt is, and then she'll look down and then she'll blush and she'll be like, ah, and it'll be one of those moments. If it's one of those moments, I'm freaking gonna freaking flip my lid.
You can see it, can't you?
I'm sorry. I didn't see anything. I frantically lowered my gaze. I knew for a fact she was going to accuse me of looking at her panties. Gosh dang it. But I didn't see them. I swear. I almost saw them, but I didn't. Really. Besides, 3D panties don't get me off anyway. The only panties I fap to are either 2D or belong to figures. Gosh dang it. Okay, at least it's just in his brain, right? In just his stupid brain, it's not actually happening, right? Right? I think we'll be okay if this is as bad as it gets. We just gotta grit our teeth and bear it. Don't you frickin' do it. I'm frickin' watching you. Anytime it wiggles, it frickin' screws me over. Every time it wiggles. The dreaded wiggle. Whose wiggle is that wiggle?
You're lying. You'd had to have seen. You've been glancing over and over for a while now.
What? Oh, frick, the thing that we keep thinking that's watching us. Oh, frick, what's actually there? Uh-oh. I didn't. I swear. He thinks it's something else, but it's the monster, yo. There's a monster. And then, for some reason I couldn't comprehend, Girl B slipped off one of her shoes, and then she began to take off one of her knee socks. Every time! I'm 0 for 3! Every freaking time! I thought that was gonna be it! Every time, dude! I never learned my lesson! I don't want to lose an ally because I decided to remain silent. I don't want it to be an ending where it's like, because you didn't make a choice, your life ended up being meaningless. You have to make choices in life or some freaking bullcrap. I'm thinking of all the possibilities, and I thought for sure, maybe this time, gosh dang it, they're all lewd, every one of them. I'm never touching it again. Never. I say it every time, and I'll do it again. No. I didn't want this. I promise I'm not trying. You probably don't believe me, but I'm trying. I'm thinking this time it'll be different. This time for sure. And I keep doubling down. I triple down, and I still lose. This is why I don't gamble, dude. I'd be a horrible bettor. Bro, I'd blow all my money on blackjack, bro. Slots would be the bane of my existence. Frick. No. Every time. I literally cannot press the green button anymore. I can't. The only way I can even potentially justify it is if there's no girl in this situation. It's the only way. It's the only way to save myself. Oh my gosh. I thought maybe I'd make it out. I bet if I would have stayed neutral, he would have just done where the thing was going. I just need to not click the green button. I just need to not click it. I just need to not click it. I just need to not click it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm done. Here we go. Oh my gosh, hold on, I gotta situate myself. I threw my chair all over the freaking place. Oh. In the midst of this, the area under her skirt threatened to become visible yet again, leaving me at a loss for where to look. I tried to find an opening to escape, but Girl B refused to take her eyes off me as she continued removing her sock. Ah, frick! Gosh dang it! No! 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 I can't ever press it again. I can't ever press it again. I can't. I have to remember I've done this 3 times now. 3 of them. The first one, because I didn't know what it did. The second one, because I thought there's no way in a crowd he would ever think such a thing. The third time, because I didn't want to lose an ally. Frick, I've been wrong every time. Gosh dang it. The now barefoot girl assumed an imposing stance, curving her lips in a scornful manner. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. Frick off. Oh my gosh. No. No.
I'll make you confess.
What? Suddenly, Girl B's warm bare foot stepped directly on my crotch. The sudden humiliation rendered me hopelessly embarrassed. Please end, please. This is the worst one. Nope. I'm not reading that one. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it that time. Nope, not reading that one. Having this happen to me, and right smack in the middle of center guy, it was mortifying, but I was enjoying it. Gosh dang it, please stop, please, I made a mistake, I swear, 3rd time wasn't a charm, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I won't press the green button again, I promise. I can't promise that, I say it every time and I can't. Gosh. Stop. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you. Oh, get that out. Oh, thank God. Oh, never again. I'm never pressing again. This is all I wanted. I just stay neutral on these. I just stay neutral. I never do it again. I never press it again. The only way I can even question pressing it is like if I have another Nidhart situation where there's nothing involved except for Nidhart being there. That's it, right? It was just, there was no one there except Takumi and then nothing would happen, right? That's the only way I can do it. That's the only way. I'm freaking serious. I promise you I'm not doing it on purpose. I promise. You think I'm lying. I'm not. I'm just that dumb. I'm really just that dumb. I can't, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm that dumb. Oh my gosh. I thought maybe if he went neutral, then we would lose this ally. I thought maybe, just every time it's green, it means lewd. That's what it means. It doesn't mean anything other than that. Okay? One of you told me in the freaking comments that it was sometimes lewd. No, it's always been that way for me. Every time. So screw that. I'm never pressing it again. I bet if I'd have been on that park bench, something would have happened with Yua. I didn't press the green button. I bet something would have happened. Frick. Every time. I never learned my lesson, ever. I never learned from this, ever. Oh my gosh.
Answer me. You see it, don't you? The dye sword.
Huh? When I came back to myself, I couldn't immediately grasp what was going on, leaving me to blankly stare up at Girl B. She was still wearing her shoes, and she wasn't stepping on my crotch or anything. What the? Had that been a delusion? So she wasn't trying to accuse me of seeing her panties. No, idiot. At any rate, a dye sword? What the heck was that? It was the first time I'd ever heard that word. Girl B had said it was a sword, and whatever she was carrying was definitely shaped like a sword. But why was she asking me if I could see it? I decided to just nod. I mean, I obviously could see it. There'd be something wrong with me if I couldn't see it. Lugging around a sword that large and conspicuous, and in center guy no less. I'd be willing to accept it if this was Akiba, but in Shibuya of all places?
I see. So you too have been gathered.
Huh? Gathered? Who? And by who? At the very least, I was definitely here voluntarily.
Have you seen an error before?
In Japanese, please. Was what I'd wanted to say, but unsurprisingly, I wasn't brave enough. Then again, If I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me, so... Regardless, this chick had been spouting nothing but nonsense ever since she'd first opened her mouth.
Tell me if you see one.
After she said that, Girl B turned around. Her skirt fluttered in the breeze, and I could almost see her panties. Gosh, dang it, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Stop talking to me, please! Please! Ow! I can't ever press the green button again. I just... Okay. I hurriedly shut my eyes.
I'm Aoi Sena, a 3rd year. You'll find me on the train in front of the station.
I opened my eyes. The girl calling herself Sena had vanished. I was completely stunned, and it wasn't until I arrived back at my base that I realized that I hadn't understood a single freaking word she'd said.